So my name is Rose Yao. I lead product for Google Maps platform. And
hi, can you guys hear me? Yes. Awesome. Hi, and my name is Amit Litsur. I work with Rose, product manager for Google Maps platform.
And we are so excited to be here with you guys today at Cloud Next to talk about Google Maps platform. So what we want to do today is talk about some of the changes that we made in the last month, right, around this product and this platform that you know and love for 13 years. And also to talk to you a little bit about what's coming next for our product and how we think about the future. So I'm sure you're all familiar with our consumer product that's on mobile and on the web, Google Maps, right? For the last 13 years, since 2005, we've been relentless in our pursuit to help people explore and navigate the world wherever they are. Now, I can say that and it sounds pretty simple, but let's take a look at the depths we've gone to make this happen. And
Yes, it's played.
if we could get the sound up, please. What's the point of a big, giant movie theater if we can't have that cinematic experience, right? A little more sound, please.
It has changed Nigeria so much, and you can actually be part of it.
Being able to be armed with the knowledge of where you're going, that you're going to be able to get there like anybody else can.
2 consecutive earthquakes hit Mexico City, and Google Maps held a response to emergency crises like this.
The hurricane had turned Houston into islands, and the roads were changing constantly. We kept saying, thank God for Google. Like, what would we have done?
It's really cool that this is helping people to keep doing what they love doing and keep doing what they need to do.
So, as you can see, we've taken a lot of time to understand how maps impact life. And that's why we're building location solutions for everyone, everywhere. There are really 3 main reasons that people rely on Google Maps. First is our rich, accurate, real-world model. With over 25 million updates every day to reflect the pace the world is changing, we know that the billion users all around the world can count on accurate, real-time location information from Google Maps. Second is our fast and scalable performance. So whether you're trying to roll out a location-based game, or a consumer app, or a major product for your entire business suite, you know that you can rely on Google's global infrastructure without having to think about capacity, performance, reliability, all these important things that you rely on. Our infrastructure supports over 1 billion monthly actives, so you can sail confidently. And finally, our extensive global coverage. Google Maps covers over 99% of the world. So that means that no matter where your users are, they're getting the best information about the world around them, and you don't have to worry about that, and you know they're covered by us. So you might be thinking, well, this sounds great for the developer ecosystem that you guys have built in the last 10 years. It's great for me when I'm trying to find coffee or a restaurant, but how is this really relevant for my business? Maybe you're even thinking, I've been using Google Maps API, and I don't really know what the difference is between this newly launched Google Maps platform and the thing I've been using for the last 10 years, right? So in the next 30 minutes, we really want to take the time to tackle both of those important questions to convince you that enterprises and organizations should care deeply about Google Maps platform and the benefits that we're offering. You've heard a lot in this conference already about these big themes, about how technology is transforming the way human beings interact with each other, how informations and ideas in the world around us are moving faster than ever because of cloud technology, because of AI, because of IoT. So I'm not going to spend too much time stealing keynote thunder. My VP is going on stage tomorrow, so I want you guys to go to that keynote and listen to her and get excited, right? But there are a few key trends I really want to outline and make you think about maps a little bit differently for your business. So let's talk about why location data is more important than ever. Well, to start with, more and more of us are using more and more devices that are connected through cloud. So just think, you woke up this morning, how many of you guys immediately checked your phone? I'm going to raise my hand. If you don't, you're just lying to me. How many of you guys also had a Fitbit, Apple Watch, Android Wear device, something else digitally? Very nice, okay. How many of you guys then immediately also got out your laptops and tablets so you can write some longer emails because the phone wasn't doing it? Good. And then maybe some of you, probably not in San Francisco, but on a normal day, would get into your car, connect your phone via Bluetooth to Android Auto or to whatever your car supports to help find directions, to know how long your commute is, to go to your next meeting. And that's just to name a few things that we all do almost every day, right? When you think about that, we're using those connected devices to do all sorts of things that require that rich, accurate living model of the world, right? We're trying to find out how long it's going to take us to get to work. We're trying to figure out where the restaurants and grocery stores are in this town that we don't know because we're really hungry at 10 p.m. on these conference nights. We're trying to figure out, how to call for a ride. We even use it for games like Jurassic World Alive or Walking Dead Our World to create these imaginative worlds where zombies and dinosaurs are lurking around the corner. So we, the world's consumer, everyone in this room, are relying on our connected devices and particularly our mobile phones that are in our pockets to navigate the world more and more every day. And our demands are going up, right? The expectations are going up. Those are some of the big consumer changes. Now let's look at the business side. We talked about how businesses are experiencing changes faster than ever because of the advent of cloud technology. The rapid pace of machine learning, AR, VR, big data, just to name a few things that you guys are probably thinking about, are helping businesses solve more complicated problems than they have ever before. And as these things come together, we're on the cusp of a massive change. We're in a fully connected world where technology is mobile and seamless throughout our day because we have cloud technology that supports all of these amazing transformations. We typically think that location-based data is only relevant for consumer apps. And yes, consumer apps are doing more and more innovative things to leverage that data to build engaging experiences. But we want to tell you that location data can also help businesses better engage their customers and do so much more for the B2B products and industry than you may have imagined. And we're going to talk about that in more detail later. In fact, we want to go as far to say that location-based data and Google Maps platform is critical to enterprise customers. That's because throughout cloud technology, location is so much more than just a pin on the map. That's what we think about, right? I can tell my customers where my store is. That's a great start. But we want to talk to you about the world of possibilities that open up and the things that you can do that are cool and unexpected and that, more importantly than anything else, can have a significant impact on your business that can save you a dollar or make you a dollar. We can help you build better enterprise customer experiences. We talked about how game companies are innovating by creating rich, immersive, engaging real-world games. We are also working with real estate companies like Trulia and Redfin, who are optimizing their operations end-to-end from their buying to their selling flow with location-based data. It can help you enable strategic decision-making by connecting insights that you never saw before when you put a geospatial layer on it. Insurance companies like Allstate and Allianz are using mapping data to understand where their policymakers are and how to think about their risk model, which is fundamental to their business. So location data, when combined with cloud technology like machine learning, AI, and AR, can really help businesses solve more complicated problems than ever before. And we'll look at a few specific examples on just how businesses are seeing real impact, not to mention doing some super cool things with location data in a minute. The solution that opens the door to all of these things is Google Maps platform. So with that, I hopefully set some context on how we're thinking about the problem and the possibilities. And I want to hand over to Meet, who's going to give you some specifics.
Awesome. Thank you, Rose. And I'll try to follow the instruction I was given to stay in this corner, but full disclosure, I'm very bad in sticking in one point, so I may walk around. So hi again, my name is Amit, and would like to talk to you, as Rose was saying, about Google Maps platform and why we think it's can have a great impact for you. But first, would like to share with you a little bit about what we had in the back of our mind. What were the objectives that we had when we defined this platform? and how we think you can benefit from that. After that, we'll share with you a couple of customer stories, 3 stories. And hopefully, if technology allows us, we'll even have one of those customers join us here on stage. And we hope those stories will illustrate, will bring to life the things that you can do and give you a glimpse of how customers were able to have a dramatic impact on their business thanks to their platform. So we keep talking about Google Maps platform, probably by now, if you were counting, maybe we said that like 20 or so times. So what does it stand for? In a nutshell, it's 3 things. If you'll take anything from this talk, just those 3 things, what is the Google Maps platform is all about? One was about simplifying our product. Number 2 was we created a tighter integration with Google Cloud Platform. And 3, we introduced industry solutions. So 3 things, and in the following slides, we'll touch many of those aspects, and all in the effort to make your experience easier, help you expedite your development cycle, and above all, make sure that our product scales with your needs. I know it may sound obvious. Of course, Google can always scale. Some of you have very, very large demands. So we'll get to that. Let's first start with a couple of principles that we had in the back of our mind as we're designing this platform. And they all seem almost self-explanatory or too simple. But as it turned out, making something simple in an enterprise offering is actually very, very hard. So I'll start with simple. Our product started very simple in 2005. But 13 years later, with thousands of large customers and millions of websites, the product evolved into something fairly complicated, to 18 APIs that was even hard for us to manage at times. So what did we do about it? So first, we simplified the product, and we streamlined those 18 APIs to 3 building blocks: maps, routes, and places. And we'll talk about it some more in the next slide. But we didn't stop there. We also want to make sure that from business engagement, it is as simple as it can get, and it allows any customers from small to large engage with us and grow as they need. So we dramatically simplified our terms. We simplified our pricing models. And if any of you ever used our product, you know that we used to have somewhat complicated business terms. Just kind of curious raise of hands. Does any of you is a current customer of our Maps API?
Yay!
Right. Yay! Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being with us along this journey. And hopefully by the end of today, you'll see that there's way more to come and you'll get way more benefits. So as part of simplifying those terms, we're now going to be billing similar to GCP only for the services you use on a monthly basis. No more annual commitment, no more termination fee, no need to have this year-ahead predictability. Of course, if you want to, we can have that discussion, but it's not a must. That's when it comes to simple. And on top of that, we wanted to make sure every customer is treated like an enterprise. And what we've heard again and again, what customer wants more than anything else, any guesses? They like to talk to us. And Google is very bad usually in picking up the phone. So we now provide customer support for free for all customers 24 hours a day. And we think that will kind of help us set the stage to make your experience dramatically simpler. Next, scalable. Yeah, you can keep the claps or you can run with it. Sure, I'll take it. I'll take it. Scalable usually is almost implicit when it comes to Google services. And as Rose mentioned earlier, we're sitting on the shoulders of giants, those who built our consumer experience that already scale today to 1 billion users. But we're looking to do more than that. Can we actually, with those terms, allow you as a customer scale with us more seamlessly? So with the new pricing, as I said earlier, any customer can start self-serve, figure out if it makes sense, with 0 risk, with free customer support. And when the time comes, you can deploy or you can engage with us. You don't have to. And as you scale, unlike before, no need to have a change in business term, no need to make code change. The system will just work. If you work with us offline, you're more than welcome, but you absolutely don't have to. The product will just scale as far as you need. Moreover, we're now leveraging Google Cloud Platform for everything under the hood for our APIs. So what that means is you're now getting the best of Google and the most scalable platform to manage your APIs. And that's kind of a nice segue to Better with Cloud. So you as a customer, we want to make sure you have a one Google experience. So instead of using multiple consoles, of having different billing scenarios or different reporting system, now it's all one consistent experience. And you can enjoy the synergies across those products. So for example, if you use Maps API, you can now use Stackdriver to analyze and monitor your usage of any of our APIs. So from a customer perspective, this is one product. What's next? I mentioned earlier that we also want to dramatically simplify our products that evolved over the years. The good news there, we provide you tremendous amount of value or capabilities or features, whatever you call it. And when we start to look at that, we realize, oh my God, this is 2,000 pages of documentation. That's crazy. Even for us to maintain those pages are very, very hard. So simplifying the products was necessary for us to help us manage and organize our world. So we figured it should definitely be necessary for you to figure out what you want to use, find, explore, and add the right feature to your application. So we organize our product to those three building blocks: maps, routes, and places. And we expect any location-aware experience to leverage those. So let's take them one by one. Let's start with maps, which is probably the most intuitive. Most people think about Google Maps API. You provide a map, and you probably have seen our map on many websites and applications on the internet. And that's true. What we're providing you as a starting point, the Google Maps, which is wonderful, right? You have the richness of our map, and you can build and custom and tailor that to your needs. But we do a little more than that. We also provide the imagery that we have and satellite view. And some of you also enjoy our panoramic view, what we call the 360 panoramic, which is something very unique to Google. Beyond maps, there's routes. Most people think of routes as, how do I get from A to B? But what we've learned along the years that many of our customers, in particularly in fleet management, actually find routes extremely important to help manage a large fleet, whether it's trucks or anything that moves in the real world, and make sure you dispatch and optimize your routes. And when you optimize your routes and you save minutes and those minutes turn into dollars, this can make a huge impact to your business. And we're going to touch on that later in one of the case studies. And last but not least are places. The world is full of places and buzzes.
Does anyone have a phone going on?
Thank you.
Thank
awesome.
you.
World is full of places, millions of places. And you're probably thinking, it's not so hard to have a device that can provide a lat long of a given location. And that's true. There are quite a few providers. You can go on Amazon, you can get those. But what those devices don't do is tell you where that place is, or what that place, and what's the name of the place, and how do you contact the place, and is this place open? Is it busy? How do you get there? When you start to get to that level of richness, that's what our Places API provide. And we've seen customers using that to allow their user discover the real world directly from their service. So if you're one of those billion active users who use Google Maps on your daily route, possibly even this morning to try to find parking, as I was struggling, it took me half an hour just to circle this block. It was painful. We would assume that you probably also want to make sure this richness of data is also available to your experience and service and product, and you provide the best you can to your customers. Speaking of customers, so as I alluded earlier, we're going to take you through 3 customer stories of how customers are using our products. And you probably first think, yes, Maps API, I've seen it all over the internet. How do I find the nearest store? Yeah, store locator, a very common use case. And it's true. And it's probably one of the oldest use cases and one of the most popular use cases on the internet. And we're still very proud to power it. But there's way more to that. We hope that those 3 cases help you stretch your imagination and help you maybe in some way rethink what you can do with our platform. First one is Vagabond. Out of curiosity, who have ever used their product? And I expect almost no one to raise their hands. And I must admit, I didn't know either, but I probably am using it. OK, now another question. Who have ever used a vending machine in the last 30 days to get a soda, a snack, a candy, some other junk food? OK, now then. So as it turned out, vending machine is a very old industry. And you may think, like, how hard is it to dispense soda and give me the right change? OK, maybe the latter is a little trickier, because I'm sure many of you experienced kind of painful. But what Vagabond did was very, very interesting. They took this old industry of vending machine, and they said, what if we don't need to worry about one machine? What if we can manage dozens of them very efficiently? What if we can manage 100? What if we can manage 4,500 of them throughout the US with a fleet of operators, and we do it more efficient than anyone else, and suddenly we can pump those margins dramatically higher than what this industry is accustomed to. And now you have an amazing business. So what they did is they started deploying those smart vending machines, all connected to the cloud with an IoT network. On top of that, they used our Maps JavaScript API to visually display where those vending machines are. Right? That's a very reasonable start. As a next step, they use our API to overlay that with additional data about each and every machine, what's their stocking, what's their inventory level, how much change they have. They use additional level of libraries to help aggregate and zoom in based on different logic criteria. And now their operators become much, much more knowledgeable. So now they have a control center to manage all those vending machines. So that's step one. Next, you now need to send those operators to actually service the machines. So this is where they used our Directions API to make sure a service person optimize the route, get to the machine, do the right service, and go on to the next service. Again, seems fairly reasonable. As it turned out, by them switching to our APIs, they were able to shave minutes from each of those services that resulted in 15% saving of their operating cost. This is tremendous. I'll pause and repeat it. 15% of their operating cost was saved by better routing algorithm. This is absolutely phenomenal and testimony to the power of data in the real world. So they combined that with additional logic from our side. We thought they're going to stop there, but no. So now today, whenever they also place a machine, the operator has a mobile app, and the mobile app just press on a button saying, the machine is here. And you're like, OK, the machine is, let's say, Moscone West, or maybe in Metreon. I'm sure many of you had to navigate to this room. Probably took you a while. I know it took me about 10 minutes. Because just knowing where the building is not enough. Knowing how to navigate within the building, where in the building the machine is tremendous value that if they give it to the operator, and those operators now within the building navigate more efficiently, again, those are minutes that can be saved. So they brought it all together, and now not only they're saving cost, but now also they're restocking their machine more efficiently. So now they had a revenue increase of about 15%. So all in all, as I was saying earlier, 8x profit of what is accustomed in this industry from about 2.5% to 20%. Their operators, as you can imagine, are extremely happy. Another case, in a different world, in a different continent. We're going to Indonesia. Anyone been in Indonesia, taking on a two-wheeler ride? I must admit I didn't. But it seems like quite a fun experience if I were to sit over there. I don't know if I would. Seems risky. But as it turned out, in this country, this is the way to go, right? Here, you call for a ride, you call for a Lyft, you call for Uber. Usually some Prius shows up. Over there, a two-wheeler shows up. Very, very different experience. What this company did, pushing, I would say, the envelope on all possible fronts, from innovative a product solution to also innovative on the technology solution. As you can see here from this stat, which is phenomenal, all in all, they're generating 100 million queries per second. Again, 100 million queries per second across the various Google services, and that covers Google Cloud plus Google Maps, all to power many services. So they power ride-sharing services, they power food delivery, laundry, maybe even dating, pet services, you name it, they do it. That's phenomenal. So let's take one little example, ride-sharing. How do they use Google Maps to optimize those real-world decisions that they need to make within 10 seconds to find you the right rider and know and deliver you the right ETA so you'll be comfortable that you are on the right ride? So if you're a Gojek user and you bring up your phone, right? I'm sure many of you have done that. You bring up your phone, you open the app with some other ride sharing, and you open the map. I don't know if you ever asked yourself, how does this company have this app map? How do they know where I am? So the simple answer is they use Google Maps. Google Maps platform. So in this case as well, Gojek uses our Maps JavaScript API. They show the map to the user selects where they are. Next, the user needs to select where they want to go. Have you ever asked yourself, how come this app, as I'm entering, guessing where I'm going? How do they know what's in my mind? How do they know what's popular and compared to where I am, I'm likely to go? So I don't need to write San Francisco International Airport. And the answer is, again, so they're using Google Places autocomplete API to help you as a user to actually quickly finish this request. So now we send this information to Gojek servers. They're using the distance metrics API. They find the right driver. Again, now it's a fleet management problem to dispatch the right driver. The driver gets the request. They launch in their app. As you can imagine, again, they're using our APIs. They find with directions how to best get to the one who asked for the ride. The ETA is sent to the consumer. So throughout this whole ping pong that needs to happen within 10 seconds, about 8 to 10 of Google Maps APIs were being executed, all to ensure a ride is fulfilled, consumer experience is kept at the best level that they can deliver. As we mentioned earlier, Gojek is not just a great Google Maps customer. They're also a Google Cloud Platform customers. So they're using, for example, the storage. As I mentioned earlier, for this volume, they generate a tremendous amount of data, about 3 terabytes of data per day. I don't know if any of you guys generate this amount. It is substantial, even in Google standards. So when they need to make a query, that query runs over petabytes of data. So when you run a query over petabytes of data, it is very hard now to get responses within a few seconds. So what they're using BigQuery, analyze those large data sets to identify where they need to send more driver, which type of rides are not very popular, to, again, keep and optimizing their business. So in summary, on the Gojek story, I would say it's pretty amazing to see that the company was laser focused on their business, kept on innovating on what they knew how to do best, which is to serve the Indonesian market, and they let Google worry about anything that has to do with infrastructure, with scalability, with how they deploy services, all runs on the cloud, scale as their business grow. And this tremendous growth has only started 2-3 years ago. Just think about it, like from 0 to 100 million queries per second in 3 years. Just phenomenal. And if you want to hear more about this story, I would encourage you all to come to our keynotes tomorrow morning. Gayatri, our product lead, and the Gojek CTO will actually be there on stage and will tell their story of how they use Google Maps Platform and Google Cloud Platform to make their success story come to life. Last but not least, among our customer stories, we'd like to give you a personal perspective from Patty McCaskey. So rather than me talking about how great we are, I'm going to let someone else do the job. So I would like to invite her to the stage. Thank you very much for joining us in person. She had to fly this morning from Dallas, so thank you.
Okay, I'm going to be stuck back here. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yay. Thank you so much, Rose, for having me. It's great to be here, and I want to talk a little bit about how Google Maps Platform actually strengthened our offering and enhanced our customers' daily lives. So SiriusXM, you're thinking, hey, wait a minute, what's a radio person doing here? Well, that's true. We have over 150 channels of curated music, sports, talk, news, and most people associate us with the radio. What you might not know is we also are a connected vehicle services provider. We provide connected vehicle services to 11 manufacturers, those brands listed there, and many of you are probably already customers of ours. So if you're a subscriber to, say, Toyota or Lexus, AccuraLink, Honda Link, Infinity Connection, just to name a few, you're getting at least some of those services from SiriusXM. If you see your car's logo up there and you're a connected vehicle subscriber. I'm really hoping you're enjoying those services. So each one of our car manufacturers gets to choose from a suite of services that we offer. We offer everything from safety all the way through to convenience. And they pick and choose, and they plan the programs that they offer to their customers. What we do is provide the services on the back end. The service we're going to really focus in on today is the en route service, because that's our navigation style services. So you're in the vehicle, you press the button, you ask for a restaurant. You should have restaurants returned to you in the vehicle. You choose where you want to go, and you're off to the races. So before we engaged with Google, we had another provider that was somewhat limiting in our scale, our reliability, and the richness of the data that we wanted. Our developers worked very diligently on the back end to supplement, massage, and augment the solution so that we could provide the quality of service that we wanted to provide to our customers. A couple of hurdles that we had, so to speak, were in the POI, or the point of interest, and category type searches. So the point of interest is just when you press the button and you ask for a Starbucks or a McDonald's. The category searches are more like, I need a grocery store or a gas station. So imagine, you're driving and you're searching for a specific restaurant because you have hungry children in that back seat. You want to go to Chick-fil-A. It's important to let you know that many of our implementations use a voice automated recognition system. So we record what you request. If it meets a confidence threshold, we go ahead and do the text-to-speech or speech-to-text and send it off to the provider. Now you've asked for Chick-fil-A. Well, our speech recognition is a very good speller. It's going to spell that Chickfilet. We're going to send that off, and because, as most of you know, Chick-fil-A is spelled quite differently from that, we get 0 results. I mean 0. And it's not just with the voice recognizer. We have agents that also will search for a point of interest for you. And when they're searching, if they don't know how it's spelled, if they don't know the nuances of where a dash goes or where a space goes, they would get 0 results as well. 0. So for a category search, we kind of run into the same problem. If you don't have a robust category search, you're not going to get exactly what you need. So you're in the car. You want coffee. No, you need coffee. You press the button and you say, coffee. What you expect are to get all the coffee locations around you. Without the good category type search, what you would get are locations with coffee in the name. So if you're expecting a Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, any other coffee shop that doesn't actually have coffee in the name, 0 on your list. So what happened? We found that we needed to look for an alternative. Our developers couldn't sustain backing up our system any longer. We had to have a partner that was robust enough to serve our millions of customers. We needed that richness of data. We needed accurate results. We needed reliable results. So we started evaluating providers. We evaluated many, and then we knocked it down to 4 providers, hoping to find just the one that would give us that out-of-box solution. And what we found was that by far, Google exceeded all of the other providers that we even looked at, especially in the areas of that wildcard search, which is like the Chick-fil-A example, and also the category searches. It would return coffee, it would return Starbucks, it would return espresso, you name it, it would show up. So we got that out-of-the-box solution that we needed, and now we can focus on what we do best. On top of all this, we signed the contract. We went to full production implementation within 3 months. That's a speed record for us, and we had a holiday in the middle. Right? Ultimately, we couldn't be happier with this product, and now we can offer a better product to our customer. So what's the key benefit for us? Well, number one, we have happier customers and very happy developers. But if you want to go back to that Chick-fil-A example with me, if you think about our agents in the call center, every minute that they spend searching, researching, massaging those POI results, is money. Every time they spend extra time, it's money. So with our previous provider, they would spend, maybe 3 searches, 4 searches trying to get the right result by changing the name, changing the spelling, changing punctuation, doing what they could to get the results that they needed. With the Google implementation, we are seeing 1 search, valid results, 1 and done, and they are out of there. So we've seen a reduction in our handling time of about 20% for many of our providers, which is really equates to a lot of money in the call center. Anytime you can actually give them just a little bit of efficiency, really, really does save a lot of cost. And the Google Maps platform gave us that efficiency. And that is my story.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patty. That was so great. I think sometimes as product managers and engineers, we develop these products. We think about, okay, input in comes in, output B comes out, right? But it's so great to hear from someone like Patty to really understand the impact it has on people's daily lives, right? So not just that, all the millions of customers being served by SiriusXM, right? But also developer happiness and efficiency and operator happiness. Your job is just easier. And that's, I think, thank you for picking us. And I think that's just part of what, makes this job really great sometimes. One thing I do want to say, the auto and voice use cases are very special. We worked with Patty for a long time to get to the right partnership here. So if you are interested or you're in this area, please just come find us at the Google Maps booth. We'll tell you where it is, and there is a special treat there for you. Just, that this will all come towards the end. So now I want to spend a little more time talking about what is coming next, right? So you just heard a lot about our core products. You heard about how they change business metrics. You heard about how they save people, minutes off their jobs, right? You heard about how that time could be spent really increasing the core business, right? And the core experience for that product, right? I want to talk about what's next for us. What are we thinking about? Why do we choose the word platform versus API? So we've been listening to our customers, and we've been hearing that you want to go deeper with us. So Patty actually had a great example, right? By understanding how her business works, we're able to really figure out how we can help, right? And we really heard from multiple industries that you guys offer some great basic products, but for you to solve some truly core business needs for me, you got to go deeper. You got to get in there and really get in the weeds with me and understand how my industry works and what my developers do every day and what decisions I have to make every day, right? So that's where industry solutions come from. So I want to share the first 2 as a couple example with you. One is Ridesharing. So how many of you guys took an Uber, Lyft, or something in the last 30 days? So did I. I actually probably take like 2 a day at this point, right? Especially when I'm in the city. The world of transportation has changed so much in the last 5 years, right? We've seen that, we've gone from taxis and car ownership to the flexibility of being able to get a car to where you are and where you want to go anytime you want, almost anywhere in the world. And Google Maps API has been a large part of that and helping those companies grow. But when we listened to those customers and we said, how can we help you? We realized we could do a lot more if we got deeper and developed a product just for that industry. So that's where we started with first the Nav SDK. So one of the key things they said is our drivers are often using our drivers app and the Google Maps app. And in order to switch between the 2, there's at least 3 taps. That doesn't seem like a lot, but when you think about it, right, they can miss a one-way street, they could go down the wrong path, they could actually just pass the passenger. And you guys have all been there where you see that car just literally pass you by, and you're like, no, please come back. I've chased it, right? It hasn't worked most of the time. And so they said, what could you do to make that experience better for drivers who are driving anywhere between 2 to 10 hours a day, right? They're in that car on their phones trying to pick up passengers for hours and hours, right? So what we did was develop a solution called Nav SDK, where the turn-by-turn directions is deeply integrated into the driver's app for Lyft, for GoJet, for Grab, right? And the driver never has to switch app again. And that's change the way the drivers operate and change the efficiency, the pickup speed, right? The cancel rides, which is a big metrics that those companies look at. So that's one example. Another one that's also very near and dear to my heart is gaming. So same thing as product managers, we said, hey, game industry, you keep knocking on our doors saying that you want a solution. What does this really mean? How do you run your business? What do you need? Why can't you just use our iOS APIs? There's a map, there's some places, it's not good enough, right? And we realized once we talked to these game studios that there's a lot more to it, right? That to develop a solution that solves for gaming, we need to go to a place we've never gone before. We need to create products that we've never built before. So let me just show you what that looks like. And if you guys could turn up the sound one more time. Maybe. All right, you have to imagine that dragon being a lot louder than it was. But the idea is that we created a totally different way to think about the world and to think about maps, right? So when you look at that video, it doesn't look like Google Maps, right? It looks like Candyland, it looks like a fancy medieval town, it looks like something completely different. So what we did was basically build 2 key products specifically for the gaming industry. One was what we call Maps Unity SDK, which is leveraging Unity, the most popular game engine for mobile app development, and letting them build 3D immersive worlds based on Google Maps' rich, accurate data. The second is what we call Playable Locations API, which allows you to find the right place to put your game player to catch a dragon, search for treasure, kill a zombie, wherever they are in the world. So not in the middle of intersections, not in weird, sketchy places, not on private land. All those things are actually really hard problems to solve when you think about them on a global scale. So, sorry, let's keep going. Technical difficulties one more time. I can talk about this, but why don't we check out a game? And maybe the sound will work? No? I'm really sad because we're in a movie theater, so sounds would definitely work. But imagine you're in this world and dinosaurs are roaring and you're catching them. In fact, you could do this on your break. And you can play with these dinosaurs, you can take selfies with them, you can battle your friends. By the way, just pro tip, Velociraptor is the best dinosaur for battling. And that's just one example. So just last week, Walking Dead Our World also launched a zombie-based game using the same technology. So I'm sorry you guys couldn't hear the sound. It's really awesome with the roaring, but you'll have to imagine it, or you'll have to come stop by our booth and check it out. But that's just a little snippet of what we do. And with Unity and Spanner and all these amazing gaming technology that Google Cloud is investing in, we can't wait to see what's next, and we can't wait to go deeper with these industry solutions. And these are just the first 2. So we're really excited to hear from you guys to see what else you're excited for us to go deeper with and what else you think we could do together. So that, Amit's going to talk about a little more about the future.
Thank you, Rose. And yeah, from here, it seems pretty scary, those dinosaurs. In some way, maybe you're lucky you missed the roar. That's really scary. A lot of fun. So if you want to learn more about our gaming, before we jump further out there is a breakout session tomorrow about gaming. I think it's at 2 o'clock. And the product manager for that product will tell you more about those details.
We'll make sure the sound works in that.
Exactly. We'll test that multiple times for sure. All right, but let's go back to problems that bothers and on the mind of our customers. And would like to take you through how we're thinking about those and how we want to start tackling those in the future. And first, we would like to start with one of CloudNext's favorite topics, which is IoT. It's a wonderful buzzwords. And for those who don't know, it stands for Internet of Things, or your devices, or all of those items and appliances that you're used to use every day. They're connected and report to the cloud. So as you probably heard in many sessions today, and you'll hear more tomorrow, more and more items are connected, more and more assets, more and more devices are connected. And what are we trying to do about it? And knowing where those items or assets are in real time is very, very important to run those businesses. So we are partnering with GCP, Google Cloud Platform, to see how far we can push the boundaries and provide a more comprehensive solution that encompasses everything from the storage of the data, analyzing the data, but also understanding where those assets are, maybe potentially how they move. So just an anecdotal idea. Imagine with this combined power of Google Cloud and mapping and new ML model, we can help companies automatically decide when to replenish smart devices like the Vagabond vending machine. Just imagine how beneficial it can be for your business if those smart assets that you want to manage can leverage both the scale of Google Cloud and the data models that we have of the real world. Beyond IoT, we're also thinking about logistics. Logistics is a very generic term, and in some way you can think of it as, OK, you started with all those challenges that we had for IoT, but then you go with more. And it's more because now you add the complexity that all those assets are moving. And knowing where they are is a good start, but you now also want to know how they move. Are they moving in the most efficient way? Where they're stopping? Are they pausing? Are they on route? And on top of that, you also need to consider different modalities of transportation, and all in the objective that eventually your assets need to arrive to the right place, and just as importantly, they need to arrive there as close as possible to the right time. So what are we doing about this? So as a start, we actually already have a solution today in the market, which we call asset tracking. And we're trying to think beyond that, how we can build a more comprehensive solution. So stay tuned for more updates on that. But as a starting point, I'll encourage you all to come to our booth in Moscone South. Definitely use our Google Maps to find your way there. It's not trivial. And when you're in Moscone South, you need to go downstairs and then all the way to the right. Again, non-trivial. But hopefully 10 minutes later, you'll get to the IoT booth, and you'll find our ice cream truck. And it's really worthwhile finding, because not only it's a very cool demo, and Mike over there is laughing because he helped putting it together, but also you can get a wonderful ice cream. So please check it out, especially after this talk. Hopefully by now you're all mellow, relaxed, recover from lunch. Ice cream would be wonderful. Beyond logistics, we also want to see how the knowledge that we have of the real world can help business with very strategic decisions. And this is what we call location insight. So we started to engage with several business verticals. It's still an early stage. Again, stay tuned for more to come. But if you have some specific requests, please come to us. Let's talk, and let's hear your story. And with that, I'd like to hand it back to Rose for a few closing words.
All right, thanks, Amit. One of the things I wanted to end with was really thinking about what we stand for as a product. So we talked about how Google Maps has been relentless in our search to help connect people to the real world. We've tested every new technology on the horizon. We were the first to jump on mobile. We're really focused on innovating and finding better solutions to this age-old problem. And we don't think it's done. So I want to make sure that you guys know we stand for the same things on the enterprise side, that we're constantly listening and thinking about new problems emerging in the space. Things like connecting to emerging markets is totally different than connecting to people in developed markets, right? The assumptions we make here are false when you move to Indonesia, to India, to China, to other spaces, right? Things like, how can AR help enterprises solve their problems better, right? How can it improve driver efficiency? How can it change the way people view their business? How can it make an insight more obvious? So our commitment to you guys is that we're constantly looking for new solutions. We're always innovating. We're always trying new things. We're always going to take risks with you guys to help build better businesses together. With that, thank you. Please come find us for ice cream. I think you have heard loud and clear where it is. And thank you again for Patty for joining us today, all the way from Dallas. I think that story is probably the best part of this presentation. And all of you guys for listening in on, we're between you and happy hour, I know that, right? So hope you guys enjoyed it. Come find us. Please ask us questions.
Thank you. Let's stay here for a few minutes if anyone has questions. If not, find us at the booth. Thanks.